We're here with Chris Lyle, the founder and CEO of LawHustle, and we're talking about innovations in technology and staying adaptable. Chris, what do you see happens in a lot of practices when it comes to technology?
I mean, there's so many moving parts and pieces as it relates to technology. There's always a new thing on the horizon or a new thing in place for technology. But I see that when people put a technology in place and it's kind of like, infected their firm, I guess you would say, it's very tough for them to move out of it, right? Even though there may be a more efficient tool available for them to use it, the fact of moving them out of it becomes this difficult feat. So technology is always changing. As a practice owner and a firm owner, you should always be looking for something for things that could be, making your practice better, your life easier, your firm. I'm not saying to buy the next shiny object that comes on the market. I'm talking about you should consistently be evaluating your technology within your firm and changes that could be made so you can be more efficient and effective for not only your staff member to be more efficient, but also your clients as well to get better results for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're saying that, you don't chase shiny objects, but you're looking for areas that you could become more efficient. So many times business owners get stuck with, well, I already have something that works, right? I already have a Rolodex. Why do I need a CRM? Or we don't need more marketing. We do mailers or whatever it is, right? So one of the big kind of shiny objects, but that is really relevant right now is Chat GPT. What's your take on AI as it comes into practice ownership?
I mean, I honestly think it's super cool and innovating thing. Maybe just because I'm a tech nerd and I like that kind of stuff. But the fact that you can have a tool to help you come up with ideas for a blog post for your firm, or have a tool to maybe help you with a headline for your website or something like that. The fact that that's there is awesome. It makes our life a lot easier. It's what are the top 8 reasons of why you want to hire a personal injury attorney, right? And they'll just spit out the 8 reasons why, right? And you can make it a whole blog post around that, or a video around it, or whatever it is for your firm to get more clients, or whatever, more leads or more clients, right? So there's I'm not saying have Chat GPT write your legal documents, because I honestly don't think it is capable of doing any of that stuff right now. But getting you past I need to do, for example, if your goal is I want to write 2 blog posts a month for the next year, right? It can get you out of that hole of I don't know what to write about. Give me some suggestions for estate planning attorneys to write a blog post on. Give me some suggestions, and it'll just start feeding you things, and then you can take those and run with them, right? So it gets you past the idea stage much quicker and into the implementation stage. Because the biggest problem is, this as much as I know, Tyler, publishing. If I didn't spend so much time making sure everything was perfect in my life, and I was just publishing our content, I would probably be in a different situation than I am now. Just publish your stuff. Just publish it.
Yeah, and I think Chat GPT and AI software like that, what it allows is it's like having someone to brainstorm with, right? Hey, give me some. It's a starting point, not a finishing point. But I think it's a great tool to just build momentum. You like tech. You're open to AI and these sort of things. When you look out into the industry and you see law firms, what are some of the common things where they get stuck in yesterday?
I just think they get complacent with the technology they currently have. So, I come into the law practice in the time where we were trying to weed out the people that were using the yellow pads of paper, the old school guys who were doing their legal research in books, and our generation came in where we were using more tech and innovating that way. But you got to be open to change. That's fair and simple. You got to be open to change. I'm not saying you go out and buy the next shiny object that comes down the market, but you should evaluate your technology at least. I consistently evaluate our technology in our firm, literally daily. You probably shouldn't do it that much, but you should at least evaluate your technology in your firm at least once every 6 months or once every 12 months to make sure that you have the tools available to you to get the best results for your firm and your staff and your clients, right? Because the last thing you want to do is make your staff's job hard. And the last thing you want to do is make your client's job or your client's outcome not as great as it could be because you weren't as efficient with the tools you have. So you should always constantly be evaluating. There's always new CRMs that come on the market. There's always new tech that come on the market in the legal industry. There's a lot in the legal industry now because the legal technology space right now happens to be a very booming industry right now for some reason. As long as you're evaluating it and making sure you have the tools that best suit your needs on the market, you're always going to be slowly moving, right? But don't be resistant to make that change. Like you look at something, you're like, that would be much better in our firm. But transitioning may be a big pain in the butt, right? But if you transition, what's the output versus like the energy wasted in using the old system and continuing on? So like you got to really evaluate those things. And I think new technology is great, but obviously not every new technology is ideal for a firm. So you just got to evaluate what's the best results that you need.
Absolutely. Is there like a piece of technology or a common tool in the law industry that is a red flag that a practice is outdated?
That they're not using?
No, like they're using, if you see an attorney is using this thing, you know that they're like a dinosaur. It's like the legal pad, right? I
mean, there's probably a handful of practice management systems out there that are all the front runners, like Clio, Filevine, CasePeer, all these other ones that are like cloud-based software. If you ever hear firms say something related to like a practice management system where you've never heard of, or like they're on sites, or like you got to update your system. And there's just more efficient ways to do stuff. We use Clio in our own practice actually, but just because I like their API, I could do a lot of customization with the stuff that we use for it, and we could do some custom development with it. But there's a lot of the stuff out there. But
if there was
you should embrace the cloud technology.
If there was one piece of tech or technology or software that people could take and do and implement right now, what would you say they should do?
For a firm, it should be there's two pieces. There's one is you have a standard practice management system and a CRM. CRM for the practice management system as it relates to managing your cases, managing your document, filing court documents, or whatever it is. That should be what you use to manage your cases, right? There's not every case practice management system is perfect for every law firm. You got to really evaluate what type of practice area you do and what you need. There's an array of different types out there based on what practice area you practice, right? And then the other one should be like the pregame system, which is like the intake type of related system, which is where you're using to manage your leads to get them to the retention part of your practice. Because once you retain them, then you move them into the practice management system, right? So there should be like an out in front system that manages all your leads to make sure you're keeping track of your leads, doing all that follow up, and then the practice management piece is the other piece, which is actually running the cases, right?
And what would you recommend for the pregame system?
I mean, I'm biased because we kind of developed this whole case retention AI thing for our firm, but LawHustle is like, in my personal opinion, is one of the better ones out in the world. And I'm not saying to toot my own horn here. I'm saying it because I've tried a lot of the other systems out there, and I'm not going to name what they are, and they just didn't fit the bill, which is the whole reason why I built LawHustle, is because I was tired of doing all the stuff myself. So I built it to be 100% automated and kind of work on its own, so I didn't have to worry about it. I knew that it was going to work at 1 o'clock in the morning for when a lead comes in when I'm sleeping in my bed, right? I know that it's just going to work, and I'm going to have a new lead on my calendar the next day, and I was still sleeping the entire time. So versus the other system out there, like they may not be as turnkey as that. So that's what we try to deliver. Like a firm's not going to want to stumble through how to build the best practices as it relates to following up with leads or having that personal connection out of the gate. They want to rely. They kind of want to just have a system that works, and that's kind of what we try to do at LawHustle. Is like, I wouldn't want to go through with the whole learning process again of what I do, so I just give them exactly what we did, but then I mold it into the way they do their practice, and it just works.
Yeah, that's huge. Everyone, if you are interested in that, go check out LawHustle and follow and share and like and subscribe, all of those things, and have a great day.